headed down the highway October 14th, 2023 to find some amazing locations. We ran into a few obstacles as there was a lot of traffic due to this solar eclipse. And this is what it looked like through the lens of many cameras. Now when we get to our location, we found that it's kind of seasonal and one of our locations was locked down. But we still had an amazing adventure. Come along and join us. Welcome everyone to Weekend Escapades. Today we are in Ophir Ghost Town. Today's adventure starts right here with one of the old buildings here in town. School desk in there. See, it looks like a teacher's desk. Old stove. And of course, the desks for the kids. Well, let's see what this building is. Oh, I see a dunce hat in the window right there, if that tells you anything about the way they used to teach school. Now, this building was constructed in approximately 1899. Hey, there's an old bell. Look at that. The old school bell. There we go. Got to hit it with a railroad tie. Now, everything at this location is locked up. I guess for winter, winter comes early up in these mountains. This is the inside of one of the old houses that have been restored. See there? Let's take a look at the front of it. There are so many beetles here. It must be getting cold. And these beetles are just trying to stay warm in the sun. Maybe you can see them all over the side of the house. Crawling around there. Ugh. But this is the front of the old home that they've restored right here. And there's a whole bunch of them. There's a whole walking area where they've taken these old buildings and restored them. So we'll walk around and take a look at what's here. And then there's some old mines that are right here in town we're going to take a look at as well. This is the post office. Now I've heard the name Ophir and Ophir. So I'll just refer to it as Ophir, although I think that Ophir rolls off the tongue a little better. The old post office. And a giant wasp inside right there. At least he's on the inside. So a lot of the buildings are original to town, and it says kind of a history of them. Like this one is an older building, but it was in the 1930s used as a clubhouse for the boys of the town. And then the pieces that are inside the desk and all those things are from the original post office that were here in town. So what they've done is they've created a little walkway of sorts, I guess. Looks like there's an old firehouse across the street. We'll go explore that as well. But that's what these are. So these buildings are restored. Ooh, wasp. I saw one in the building over there too. So, wasp area. So this is originally positioned, it was on Main Street. So it was donated to the town, to the historic district. And what they did is they moved it right up here again to preserve these buildings and restore them. Old rocking chair and some things in there. But we can't go in. Everything's locked for winter. Some old wheelbarrows and I guess barrels in general. And a lot of these were houses and things that were here that they've again restored. Well, one of them, that one there, was actually on that location, and it still exists. And this is a bigger one here. One thing I will say, this is a very picturesque setting. Look at those rock cliffs up there. And the trees are all changing color. Very beautiful. Let's walk up the old steps here. See what this is? This is an old home for sure. Now this one was built by Charlie, I guess, Berg at this original location. And he repaired shoes for the people of the town. And after his death, it was occupied by several other couples and small families. Poker games were played as a regular pastime at this location. The old wood stove still in there. Phonograph and a few things. And again, we're all locked up. Can't get inside. Now, through these beautiful trees, there is a old rail car. right over here. Now this was the visitor center, is what I was told. And I don't think anybody's in there. Again, they closed down. Kind of a makeshift outhouse. Mine boss and miners, if you get that. The mine boss goes to the bathroom on the top and the miners down below. Scale. Original scale. Let's see what's going on in the in here. Not much, to be honest. Just an old rail car put on cement. My parents actually had one of those that my dad used, and he actually did sharpen an axe with it, believe it or not. This one had a motor attached to it, but the one that my dad used had pedals down here, and it would turn this wheel, and he would sharpen using that. He used that up till about, I guess, 1985. He still had it and still used it. Now they've got a little mine car here. Some stones in there. And a little facade that looks like an entrance of an old mine. This is all by the visitor center. From what I've seen so far, just a lot of buildings in a line. So we've got to explore the town and find some more interesting buildings. I see a couple right across the street. Look at this rail car here. Now this one's on the, it's got the wheels, but it's all made out of wood. And a lot of them are just metal around here. But this is an original old wood mining cart.
This looks like a good time for some Ophir history. So these claims were established by Colonel Patrick Connor and his soldiers in 1860. And basically what happened is they found out that Native Americans were using silver in their bullets. So when they found this out, of course, they wanted to know where they were getting it from, and they established claims in the area, and this became quite the boomtown. Saloons, dance halls, stores, you name it, they had it.
So this is the Ophir, Utah Town Hall. Gosh, I want to say Ophir every time I see it. You can see this was the town hall. They've got a double door there. Right next to it is the old fire hall. Probably one of the nicest looking buildings in town as far as historic buildings go. It's right on the street. The rest of it's just all kind of put in that little museum walkway area. The town's beautiful, but not that much as far as historic buildings left on the street. They kind of moved them and then put more modern houses, if you will. And a little spot for RVs right there, right on the main road where the little park is over there. So, didn't know that. But this is a nice old building. You can't see in it at all. This would be the fire hall. Fire station number 1. Right there.
All right, so we're going to drive outside of town just a little bit. This is about a quarter mile past the town proper. And there's a little park out here with some older buildings. And this was all gated off and fenced off. I believe it's because of the time of the year. I think everything shut down here the end of September. So when you look around from this park area, you'll find that there's an old log cabin right below these beautiful cliffs. And this is it right here. So just kind of exploring through the bushes, this looks like one of the oldest buildings in town, but there's no markers, and if you don't look through the bushes, you're going to miss it, because there's a lot of foliage in front of this building. But this old cabin looks like it could tell some stories. I wish there was a little bit more information about it. Well, let's just take a look at what's left. Now, while we're looking at this beautiful old log cabin, one thing I will say is this town has literally no parking. Very tough to find a spot to park and be able to view these buildings. So one thing for sure, also come during the summer.
Where?
We've seen it filmed so many times, like it's an old mining town with all these things accessible, but it didn't seem that they were. So we did the best we could to show you what's left here in this old town, this old mining town that is absolutely, probably, I guess, the most picturesque town that we filmed, with its beauty, with all the leaves changing color. But I still can't get over this beautiful old log cabin. Now this area here is the dead center of town. This is where that little park is, where those buildings are, some old ore cars. And right here is a display outside of a home that's right up against the road. And the gentleman waved at us as we went by, literally the only person we saw walking through town. We're going to see some old buildings on the way out, but we're headed to the loading chute. And this loading chute has been here for some time. Again, it was donated by the Alt family, as many things on the ground in this town were donated by that family and put here for permanent display. Not to be moved, I'm sure, without their authorization. Now, a lot of people say that Ophir is a ghost town, but I don't think it is. There's about 38 residents that live here. And there's some old buildings, but there's really nothing that says what they are. But it is beautiful. And here is that old ore loading chute. It's kind of a big piece in town, probably the nicer one, and you can't get close to it because it is also surrounded by barbed wire. So it's hard to even get close to that placard that's on it.
Okay, so I had to switch cameras, as the one that I had kind of acted up a little bit. I want to make sure I get this footage, so there's going to be a little voiceover as well. But right here alongside the road as you're coming in, you can see the old mine car, some of the cables to pull it up. And it almost looks like this is original because it is cemented in the ground and looks like it's been there for quite some time. So maybe this did pull from down in the canyon there. That looks like something that would generate steam or coal power, like a big area, or maybe it was something that held water. Not sure what that would be. But that is a giant spool. See how it was driven? There's a pipe coming out of it there. Maybe it was water driven. I don't know. If anybody knows exactly how this would operate, let me know in the comments for sure. So walking here, you can see the couple of the old guns, I guess you call them, that they would use to be able to, pneumatic style, I think, to be able to chisel away at all the stone. And another version over here. There's a couple of them sticking out of an old piece of rock right there. There's the welcome sign, established in 1870. Nicely made old sign right there. There's narrow gauge rail up there with some old ore cars on it. It came across here. Maybe you can see it. I'm filming on an iPhone, of course, and hopefully it's coming across really good. And down there is where the area where they dumped all the ore out. So we tried to get up there on those rails to share it with you, but it's all fenced off and said it's active mining. So not really user friendly here in town unless you go to the little museum part. Got a few things like this. The old rail car here, it says right on it. This is on loan from the Alt family. Over here's the 4 different kind of rail cars. I think this one was one of the ones that were operated like pneumatic with water pressure. And then that was a little ore bucket where they scooped it up and dumped it into the ore cars. Not sure what that would be called, but that's also on loan, the narrow gauge rails.
All right, so heading on down the road after that camera malfunction to the cemetery.
Okay, we made it up the hill to Ophir Cemetery. So, Ophir Cemetery, a very large cemetery. It wasn't a real big area with this. is part of it. And I want to say that there's an older cemetery here or something, because this does not look... No. So this is the 1982 version. I think we've got to go up the hill over here to find the older one. Let's go see a trail alongside this newer one through here. And I think the older cemetery is right up this hill. I sure hope this mic on this phone is working good, since the camera that I had quit working on me. And this goes back here quite a ways up the hill. I'm just wondering if that's where this goes. It's to the original cemetery. We'll just keep going and see where it takes us. Around the corner to the fence. Aha! I see a few plots over here that are definitely older. Some old iron markers. This is definitely it. You can see there. That's one location where somebody was laid to rest. And the old wood ones there. There's a large plot over here. With these old cemeteries, you just don't know where to walk half the time. You know what you're walking on, so you just kind of look at the beaten path. Try to follow that. Definitely looks like that was a family plot or something there. Markers that I can see. It's just old picket fence, fairly ornate though. Look at that one. Oh yeah, there's a large stone over here. Here's an actual older marble looking. There we go. I don't see anything on that. Hard to make out anything on there. It looks like it actually had fallen over at one point. It's definitely a newer stone there. And maybe that's the original stone that they had. There's another one that was built like a corral, if you will, around it, fence. And a lot of stone that they just laid in circles around it. And here's one over here. Just a little cross in the rocks. And there's a large stone over here too. Boy, around every little corner you can find something. William Robertson. 1835 it looks like, and 1903. That's one of the nicer stones I see here. All right, so we came in over by the parking lot where the new one is. Look at this. The old gate. If we can get in and out of this one. Can't. Look at this old gate. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that, right up. Just saw this through the bushes. So this is the entrance, the original entrance to the cemetery. I was saying, maybe there was a path that came from town, which is that direction, that came through here, and it probably washed out because it looks like maybe there was a path to walk here, or maybe a wagon. You know, the old horse-drawn hearses would pull up to this pioneer cemetery that was here. But I'm still fascinated by this gate. That's very old.
Headed out to explore a new location while we look at this beautiful gate. We're going to try and find Mercur, Utah.
So we headed up the road to Mercur, which is a ghost town. It was a mercury mine. And you can see what they've done here. Now, I've seen video of this where people are able to get in, but I'm guessing that they go around the fence to walk in there. But this has video surveillance on it now. Guard shack. Interesting though. Got more wasps up there. Definitely not going in there. The kind of thing that you can definitely get in trouble for, but I thought we were going to be able to drive in and see this location. Darn. Barrick Mercur. A place where they are going to mine Mercury. Well, let's at least take a look at this building here. That's pretty secure. Seen that before. You gotta wonder. Last video I said, I wonder how many videos I'm on for surveillance. A lot of these places you go to, they've got a camera that stays pointed right at you. But anyway, that's the location where it was. Okay, so we're along the highway, headed from, of course, Ophir, and we looked for Mercur, which is in the mountains, not behind me, but in front of me, actually. But you've got to see this. So this is the William Ajax underground store. So this facility was 2 stories underground, and I'm going to show you the placard that's here and also behind it. But this is the William Ajax underground store, and that's really kind of a carving of it here in the sign. It was established in 1870. Shortly thereafter, a post office called Center was added. The building was bullet hole by 100, so it looks like 80 feet by 100. And in some places, the lower floor was like 20 feet below the ground. The excavation was done by William Ajax using a shovel and wheelbarrow. So he literally dug underground. And they stored merchandise. Here was a warehouse for housewares, hardware, tools, medicines, and goods. And it said that the merchandise exceeded $70,000 back then. So that was a lot of merchandise. But since then, this has become the home of these cows. And when we pulled in, they were all staring at us, real excited. I think they had the idea maybe that we were gonna throw some feed. But I have to wonder if that kind of divot, that hole in the ground right there, is where the Ajax store was. Because other than that, it's turned into a ranching operation. And they're starting to make a little noise. Happy cows on the old Ajax store.
Now, as you're road tripping down the highway, you find these, I guess, historical markers and beautiful pieces like this old silo along the road, and we're going to explore it.
Let's take a look inside down here. What we've got. Some little windows, maybe some kind of door to make sure all the stuff that was in the silo was able to move through here. It's a long ways up there. Let's walk around the back. Again, I apologize if there's something on this graffiti that I don't see. So coming around the back, this is probably that tunnel that goes all the way to the front of it. I'm gonna kind of put the camera down there and see if we can see what's going on. I'm not gonna climb down in there. That looks pretty dirty. And it's about 8 feet down. There's inside this one silo. And this is the middle. Hello? Then you can hear the echo inside the giant silo. Kind of fun, just found this alongside the road. And again, the tracks are right here. And the highway right over there. We've already got snow on some of the mountains in the distance. And that's going to do it for our road trip. Headed to a few old mining towns. No luck on one of them. We'll finish it with saying goodbye from Weekend Escapades. And we'll see you in the next one. Horrible graffiti. One last window to take a look at.